Every summit tells a story, but some end mid-sentence. These are the mountains that turn ambition into memory. For decades, they've drawn explorers, dreamers, and those who thought they were ready. They weren't, and the mountain never forgets. Number 8. Annapurna, the mountain that eats men alive. In Nepal's Himalayas rises a beautiful monster, Annapurna 1. From a distance, it looks serene, its slopes glowing gold at sunrise. Up close, it's a graveyard. Out of the 365 people who've reached its summit, 72 never came back. That's roughly 1 in 5 climbers who vanish beneath its ice and stone. For decades, Annapurna held the world's highest fatality rate, more than 30%. Even now, its death ratio hovers among the deadliest on record. Avalanches strike without warning. Entire teams have been swallowed mid-ascent, their camps erased by snow cascades heavier than concrete. The mountain's south face, a near-vertical wall of ice, is one of the most dangerous pieces of terrain on Earth. Climbers call it a white wall of death. Every crack, every breath, feels like defiance. Annapurna is treacherous not because it's tall, but because it's unpredictable. The weather shifts in seconds. The slopes collapse under their own weight. There's no forgiveness, no pattern, no mercy, just silence after the storm, and names that fade into snow. Number 7, K2, the Savage Mountain. Where Annapurna devours, K2 punishes. Standing at 8,611 meters, straddling Pakistan and China, K2 doesn't tolerate arrogance. It has a fatality rate of roughly 23%. 1 death for every 4 who reach the top storms gather like executioners, and the route offers no safe passage. Its nickname, the Savage Mountain, isn't poetic exaggeration. It's earned in blood and frostbite. Every climber who steps onto K2's slopes knows they're gambling everything. The bottleneck, a narrow couloir beneath a hanging glacier, is a death trap. A single crack in that frozen ceiling can unleash tons of ice. In 2008, 11 climbers died there in one night when the serac collapsed, cutting off ropes and hope alike. Unlike Everest, K2 can't be tamed by guided expeditions or long lines of tourists. It demands skill, nerve, and luck, and still kills the prepared. Survivors describe reaching the summit not with joy, but disbelief. On K2, the climb doesn't end when you reach the top. Most die on the way down. Every part of K2 feels alive in a cruel way. The wind roars with intent. The ice shifts beneath boots. The altitude blurs judgment. Even satellite weather forecasts can't predict its sudden mood swings. Temperatures drop to minus 40 degrees Celsius without warning, and ropes snap like twigs under the weight of frozen storms. Those who've returned say the silence after a collapse is the worst sound of all. K2 doesn't forgive mistakes, it waits for them. At number 6, Nanga Parbat, the Killer Mountain. They call it the Man-Eater. At 8,126 meters, Nanga Parbat rises above the forests of Pakistan like a blade of ice. Its south face, the Rupal face, soars 15,000 feet from base to summit, making it the tallest mountain wall on Earth. Since the first attempt in 1895, it has claimed more than 60 lives, with an estimated 21% fatality rate. To climbers, it's not a peak, it's a curse. Avalanches roar through its gullies day and night. The routes are long, the rock unstable, and the weather violent beyond reason. German climbers once called it their Mountain of Destiny, after more than 30 perished before anyone succeeded. Even modern equipment hasn't changed much. One mistake still means disappearance. Nanga Parbat doesn't just kill, it isolates, starves, and exhausts. Rescue is nearly impossible. When the sun goes down, the temperature plummets past sanity. And in that cold, many simply sit down, close their eyes, and never wake again. Those who've reached its summit describe hallucinations, snow blindness, and a feeling that the mountain itself rejects them. In 2013, an extremist attack on climbers' base camp killed 11, adding a grim human chapter to its natural savagery. Nanga Parbat is a place where nature and fate conspire, where even the strongest realize that courage and survival aren't always the same thing. Number 5, Kangchenjunga, the Sacred Death Zone. In the misted borderlands of India and Nepal, Kangchenjunga stands like a deity veiled in cloud. Locals revere it as sacred, and perhaps for good reason. At 8,586 meters, it's the world's 3rd highest mountain, but its summit has seen fewer footsteps than you'd expect. Fatality rates have hovered between 10 and 20% depending on the route and year. Kangchenjunga's danger isn't its height, it's its deception. The weather here moves in whispers, hiding storms behind curtains of fog. The ridges are remote, technical, and barely mapped. For decades, climbers refused to stand on the summit out of respect for local beliefs, stopping just short. Many never made it that far. Its avalanches move like shadows, silent until they strike. Few rescue teams operate here, and helicopters struggle in the thin air. The mountain demands humility. Those who come to conquer it rarely do. Those who approach it with reverence sometimes survive. The air around Kangchenjunga feels charged with an eerie stillness, as though something ancient watches from behind the mist. Locals tell of spirits guarding its flanks, punishing those who show arrogance. And perhaps they're right. The snow here conceals crevasses, wide enough to swallow an expedition whole. Even satellites struggle to capture its upper ridges through the endless cloud cover. For climbers, the sacred mountain offers a cruel irony. To touch its peak is to trespass against both faith and fate. At number 4, Dhaulagiri, the White Mountain of No Return. Its name means dazzling mountain, but Dhaulagiri shines with danger. Towering 8,167 meters above Nepal's Kaligandaki Gorge, it's one of the most technically difficult 8,000ers on the planet. Since climbers first reached its peak in 1960, around 358 have succeeded, and at least 58 have died trying, a fatality rate of roughly 16%. Avalanches, icefall collapses, and knife-edge ridges make Dhaulagiri's ascent a nightmare. The route is steep, the weather vicious, and the terrain unpredictable. Many expeditions vanish into whiteout storms that last for days. From the air, the mountain gleams like polished ivory, but on the ground, it's a maze of death traps. Few attempt Dhaulagiri twice. Those who return alive speak of hallucinations, frost-bitten silence, and the eerie calm of the summit, a place where the wind sounds almost human, whispering warnings too late to hear. Even rescue teams avoid lingering near Dhaulagiri's upper slopes. The air is too thin for helicopters, and the glacier crevasses too unstable for ground recovery. When someone disappears, they stay gone. In 2008, a French expedition was lost without a trace, tents shredded, footprints ending abruptly at the edge of a cornice. The mountain gave nothing back. From its shadowed ridges, Dhaulagiri looks deceptively still, as if sleeping. But those who've seen its wrath know better. It isn't resting, it's waiting. At number 3, Makalu, the silent executioner. Makalu doesn't roar like K2 or avalanche like Annapurna. It waits. At 8,485 meters, this fifth highest peak lies just 19 kilometers east of Everest, but it feels like another planet. Its pyramid shape is so steep, it cuts the jet stream. The fatality rate hovers near 10%, with 41 climbers known to have died on its slopes. The wind alone can strip tents from the mountain and bodies from the ledge. Makalu's danger lies in precision. The climb is brutally technical, demanding ice climbing expertise at high altitude, where oxygen runs thin and judgment fades. Rescue is next to impossible. If you fall here, the void swallows you whole. Survivors describe the mountain as eerily silent. No bird calls, no avalanches, just the sound of breathing inside a mask, and the creeping sense you shouldn't be there. Climbers who underestimate Makalu don't get second chances. It's not the loud kind of killer, it's the one that strikes when you least expect it. The isolation adds to its menace. Unlike Everest, there are no crowds, no fixed ropes, no camera crews, just endless rock and ice where even sunlight feels cold. The final push to the summit, the razor-thin French couloir, has turned back entire teams' meters from victory. In 2011, 3 experienced mountaineers vanished without a call for help. Their tracks led upward, then stopped. No bodies, no answers. On Makalu, even echoes refuse to return. Every year, a handful of climbers attempt it, drawn by its untouched beauty and the silence that feels almost sacred. But those who've stood on Makalu's upper ridges say the mountain doesn't want to be climbed, that it watches, waits, and decides who leaves alive. Even in calm weather, you can sense it breathing beneath the ice. Number 2, Manaslu, the deceptive beauty. At first glance, Manaslu looks forgiving, graceful slopes, photogenic peaks, and a reputation as a training mountain for Everest. But that illusion has cost lives. At 8,163 meters, its name means Mountain of the Spirit, and the spirits there have collected many. Around 65 climbers have died attempting it, with an estimated fatality rate near 10%. The danger isn't only altitude, it's the avalanches. In 2012, one swept through Camp 3 at dawn, killing 11 people in seconds. Crevasses hide beneath snow like traps. The glacier shifts without warning, and as more commercial teams push for its summit, overcrowding adds human error to nature's wrath. Manaslu's slopes lure the ambitious with promises of beauty and bragging rights. But those who've climbed it know, beneath its calm surface lies a restless, hungry force. Every ascent is a roll of dice with fate. Even technology offers little protection here. Weather satellites can't predict when the snowpack will fail, and radio contact fades fast in the valley's echoing silence. Survivors often speak of a strange stillness before disaster, a pause so complete it feels rehearsed. Then the roar comes and everything vanishes. For Manaslu, serenity is just camouflage. It welcomes you gently, then buries you without warning. And yet, there's one mountain that draws them all, from the reckless to the reverent. A place where the air itself turns lethal and ambition burns brighter than oxygen. The others may test your strength, but this one tests your limits as a human being. Because what comes next isn't just about climbing, it's about surviving your own dream. Finally, number 1, Everest, the death zone of dreams. Mount Everest, the roof of the world. 8,848 meters of frozen myth, human pride, and unending loss. It's not the most technical mountain. It's not even the most dangerous per attempt anymore. But its sheer body count earns it a place here. Over 280 climbers have died on its slopes. Their remains still litter the route, preserved in ice, known by the colors of their jackets. Green boots, Sleeping Beauty, the Rainbow Valley. Everest kills quietly. Altitude sickness, exhaustion, thin air that thickens the mind. Above 8,000 meters lies the death zone, where the human body dies even while standing still. The summit push can last 20 hours, long enough for oxygen to run out, blizzards to roll in, and crowds to bottleneck in lethal slow motion. Many reach the top, take a photo, and never return. Their final moments happen beneath a sky too thin to scream. The tragedy of Everest isn't just its danger, it's its allure. Every year, hundreds return, drawn by the same dream that buried those before them. Traffic jams of climbers now snake across ridges where the wind could tear skin from bone. Rescue at that height is nearly impossible. Even the strongest Sherpas can't carry down the dead. The mountain doesn't rage, it observes. A mirror reflecting human ambition at its most fragile Everest doesn't need to prove itself deadly. It just waits. Because here, even triumph feels like survival, and every breath costs more than most are willing to pay. They thought the summit was the end. It was only the beginning of the fall. Because at that height, the sky stops being a dream and starts becoming a mouth. Join us for the next discovery.